broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Yeah, let's break it down to some Matlock, everybody.
I'm into it.
That's right.
This
there
is
you
my
go.
show when I was a kid. I grew up watching this one.
Welcome, everybody, to the Angie Tribeca After Show here on AfterBuzz TV. Look at that. We're going to be talking about a lot of great things here, breaking down 2 episodes of Angie Tribeca. We're going to be finding out why you never reveal a ventriloquist secrets and why you never want to get handcuffed to your partner. That's never a good thing. All right, I'm Frank Moran. You can follow me on Twitter at HappyGoJackie. And we have reassembled a squad to break down these 2 episodes. Coming up here, right here, on my immediate left here, we've got Nikki Preston.
Yes, I'm Nikki Preston. You can find me on Facebook and Twitter at Nikki Preston TV. And I'm also on Instagram at Nikki.Preston.
Next up, we've got the man, the heartthrob, Michael Clous.
I never know how to respond.
Take it as a compliment.
Yes.
I will. We'll just take it and run with it. On Twitter at Michael Clous TV, on Instagram at the only MC. The only one.
The only one? That's right.
There he
Still,
is.
Yep. Even after last week, nobody's tried to go for the title. There you
I had
go.
a couple people make an offer, but it wasn't high enough.
And lastly, but not leastly, we have Nadine Delapelle.
Nadine Delapella. Yep, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at NadineDP3. So,
Look at that.
there we go.
All right.
Lucky number.
We're going to be breaking down 2 episodes this week here. Even though they've done the marathon and they're just kind of starting off re-airing the series again with episode 1, we're going to still keep continuing our breakdown. So we're at episode 3 right now. We're kicking off episode 3, The Ventriloquist Did It.
They really
One of
gave
my
it away
favorites.
right off the
Yeah,
bat.
again, following the last week's theme, they also just revealed right out of the gate who the criminal is right out of the box.
Favorite episode so far, though. I mean, just the jokes I thought were really good. I thought it flowed really nicely. I was a big fan.
see, I loved it because I thought it was a topic that not a lot of people or not even a lot of communities have really touched upon, like ventriloquism. Like it's such an interesting thing. Like I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever tried to be a ventriloquist, make your mouth talk. I don't know, I can't do it. So
I've
It was almost there. It was almost there.
no, he's my dog. Talk.
Yes.
But I just love the topic of it, so that's why I really like this episode.
To really get inside the dirty secrets there.
A little bit. Just
Yes.
a little hint to it.
It's one of those things, too, that, like, a lot of people maybe have tried to do it and you maybe get made fun of, but the people who can do it, man, you're good.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the main person in here,
Jeff
Jeff
Dunham.
Dunham, who is an actual ventriloquist and is very skilled, and I'm sure makes millions of dollars. And for everyone who made fun of him as a child, I'm sure he's just laughing at them right now.
I know, you're right. He was probably like the little dork in school. No one would play with him on the
Yep.
playground. And now look at this. And he also brought his real life dummy, Walter, in, as you were telling me. And yeah, it was really cool to see him in the show.
Yeah, they have big houses. Who knew?
And you always do a bunch of shows out in Vegas. That always seems to be the premier destination.
Yeah.
If you're a ventriloquist, you're doing a show out in Vegas.
And it looked like they were in Vegas too. I mean, on the show, all the dummies were dressed up like in their little showgirl outfits, and it was very sketchy and very Vegasy.
So we start off the episode with just a little cold open there. We've got a lineup happening inside there. We have an old woman with Tribeca and Giles to identify somebody that did a crime against her. But of course, they're supposed to be in the room watching the suspect so she can identify him. But they've reversed the two-way mirror. So
Of course, in typical Angie and Giles fashion, they're on the wrong side. They put the convicts or whoever they're trying to identify on the other side, and you see the 2 perpetrators. They're both looking at each other like, are these people really the cops that are supposed to be in charge of this right now? Is this really a thing that's happening?
Is that an
Yeah, it's a
actual
great-
fear?
Yeah.
I'd say it's an actual fear if you're actually identifying someone in a serious
1000%.
crime.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I've always thought about that. Luckily, I've never had to be in that situation before, but I was like, I would never want to. I'd be
Are
afraid.
you on the other side of the mirror?
I'm actually the one on the other side of the mirror. I'll show you my mugshot after. It's kind of cute. I put it up against some of the best of them, like Lindsay Lohan.
I bet.
Hey, there you go. You took a little
Super
time to
into
prep yourself
Yeah,
for it. Yeah,
exactly.
there you go. That's right. I mean, that photo's going to be around a long time, so you want
I
to look
know.
good for
Now
that
people
one.
are going to blackmail me with it, but
Yes. So that it kicks into the opening credit, and again we have one of our recurring themes there, where somebody's screaming through the course of the intro, and we come out, we see it's a cop with the finger in the file cabinet there, and they find out about a murder of a ventriloquist. Alan Parsons, guys. Alan Parsons, he's dead. That's a shame. Yeah, so they go to the scene, which I love that. They just have the ventriloquist and the dummy just laid right next to each other in the same position, which I thought was fantastic. And we see again the rookie cop puking at just the tragedy of that scene. Always tough to see.
But what we also saw too here, a theme that we saw was that the you think he's dead and then his eyes open again. So it's always like these dead bodies or these murders they're trying to solve. They're actually still alive, but then they still go and pretend that they're dead. I don't know.
Because it was almost like they were trying to close the eyes of the dummy, so Guile kept on pushing it, and it kept on popping open. Same thing with the human too. He kept on pushing it, it kept popping open.
Something that you see in so many TV shows or whatever when someone dies, and let's just honor them and close their eyes.
But I love it. That's just a theme that they keep putting through every episode now, which is just...
And that's why I love the show, because there's so many cop shows out there, and I'm not into all that serious drama, but I mean, even though they do it seriously, it's something you could laugh at for a half hour, and I just love Sarah Chalk in the show. I mean, the guests that they have on every week are just so amazing, and I mean, when she was doing her whole OCD thing, nose, eyes, ears, go, like that was by far, I thought, my favorite part of the whole episode.
Yes, well, they find out they want to talk to Sarah Chalk for that, because it leads up to one of Nadine's favorite jokes in this entire episode.
Yes, my favorite joke, it was, when I'm laughing thinking about it right now, you go, Mr. Parsons was married to, hang on, I got it here. Starts flipping through the notebook and goes, and Mrs. Parsons. I just find it was just such like a corny joke, and it's just my favorite. That's what I adore. So
it's just nice with the folding and the folding.
And just going through and through and through.
Builds.
And then Mrs. Parsons.
So Giles and Tribeca go over to Mrs. Parsons' house, but they have a little moment right outside there where they have a little flashback with Giles. They find out that he's got a really close association with ventriloquism.
Takes after episode 2 where she had a connection. Now he has a connection.
So we get to see a little flashback of young Giles there. There's young Jay there. Flashback originally when he was 12, thinking about when he was 7, which I thought was a nice intro into that. So he has his first foray into ventriloquism and fails because he did the cardinal sin of ventriloquism. You moved your mouth while you were on stage, and that's a no-no.
Yeah. I mean, did you guys ever want to practice that when you were a kid at all? Or, like, would that be a fun gift to get if your parents had given that to you when you were 7? Because I don't know what I would have done. I don't, like, I said I would have tried before I failed, but I don't know as a kid if that's what I really would have wanted, or...
I think for me it was like I think I kind of dabbled with it, but it's only for the sense like I wanted to be able to have that skill immediately. The fact that I have to work at it and train, like, forget about it.
I can't
so then if I could take the puppet right out of the box and then start throw my voice, I couldn't do it. Then it's like
you don't want to have to go through the point where you're getting teased about it. You want to skip right to the Jeff Dunham level where you make millions of dollars and you have your own show.
Doesn't everyone want to do that? Just become the all-star, the most successful MVP of every sport.
Isn't it more of like a guy's thing too? Like, you never really see women ventriloquists as much. At least I don't. I mean,
I don't know. I haven't really researched them like Giles has or anyone enough to know if there's more male or female dominated industry. I'm not really positive.
Google up here, top female ventriloquists.
But that's what I thought was funny in his flashback when he was showing when he was 7 and then until when he was 12 as well, just being a ventriloquist or he would look at the stats. They made it into a whole baseball thing.
Yes.
Like you're talking about, he knew all the stats, the V-quiz,
quiz.
like he had the whole chart. Like it was like it was baseball or some like football thing, which I thought was very interesting. They made it into like a sport, and I never thought of that.
Which was, I mean, it says a lot. Obviously, you learn. I mean, I like how they're doing this because you learn about the character and you're learning about, obviously who he becomes, and so it says a lot about him.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we're talking about like childhood dreams there. I mean, we've seen Tribeca have some flashbacks as well, especially in this episode about her childhood dream being a magician that kind of fails. How about you guys? Anybody have a childhood dream that you've kind of pursued, but then you end up like, no, I kind of gave up that you always regret?
I mean, my childhood dream, it was really weird. I wanted to be a judge. I loved like Judge Judy so much. I don't know why. I was a little kid. I thought she was hilarious, and I didn't really know anything of what was going on in the show. All I knew she was yelling at people, and I was like, I want to do that as a kid when I grow up. I want to be a judge. I want to be a lawyer.
Have you ever had the opportunity to bang the gavel?
No. I mean, like when I played pretend and stuff, obviously. I'm the one that ruled the school children. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I always wanted to be a judge, and there's a funny story of when, I don't know if you guys ever remember the show Molly in the Comfy House, or And the comfy
No.
couch, not comfy house, comfy
Oh,
couch.
comfy couch,
Yeah,
yes.
sorry,
Mhm.
comfy house, comfy couch. But I remember she was coming to the mall, and my mom and I, we went there, and then it happened to be over. They put the wrong time in the newspaper, all this stuff. And I was like 5 or 6. And my mom always tells me the story. I guess I went up to the manager and I said, when I grow up, I'm gonna become a lawyer. I'm gonna sue you. When I was 5 or 6. And so I wanted to always do that, but nope, not anymore. Here I am. Here's what I do now.
You're stuck with this.
So that was my
so-
weird childhood dream.
I think you made the right choice. I think.
Yeah.
How about you, Michael?
I was a guy growing up. I mean, I wanted to be a professional athlete, obviously. But weird confession, kind of like ventriloquism,
Okay.
maybe. I don't know.
One of those.
Skip past that. Magic. I've always loved magic. So I think I had a magic set or two when I was younger. I don't know. It's fun.
It
Yeah,
is
no,
fun.
my
It's
brother
impressive.
does it. Actually, my brother took it
Really?
up later on, yeah, like in his 20s, and we gather around for the holidays. He actually like can hide cards in Christmas trees and in like oranges, and it's really, he's very, very amazing. He learned from YouTube just watching other magicians.
Does he reveal the secrets to you or no?
No, he doesn't. He will not let me know, not even me, and I mean, we're tight, so someday I'm just gonna like end up trying to hide and see what he's doing, and you know, I got to figure it out, you know.
I imagine he gets to your family's house early, sneaks in, puts all the cards on the Christmas tree, plants everything ahead of time,
he
sneaks into
does.
the pantry, gets them in the oranges.
Yep, I know. One day he's like, okay, those are my oranges. Don't touch them. You know, please don't eat them. And I was just like, okay, why are you like telling me this? Didn't think anything about it. And then later on in the day, I figured out why, because he had a card stuck in the middle of the orange. But
Well, there you go.
How about you, Frank?
It would have been a stuntman. I always thought that would be cool to be a stuntman growing up. Yeah, I don't know. I guess because my dad had always plays with movies like Hooper and stuff like that. All the stunt guys, and he loved the Fall Guy and stuff with Lee Majors. So for some reason, I thought being a stunt guy would be cool. You get to do all this cool. You get to fall from tall heights. You get to crash cars and all that stuff. And then I don't know. I just got really fat.
broken legs, broken arms.
Are you an
all-
adrenaline junkie? You like that?
I do
You
love
like the
adrenaline.
rush?
Yeah, the skydiving, things like that. I love doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Me
there you
too.
go.
I went skydiving. I love it. All that stuff rappelled off a building.
Nice.
Hot air
Yes.
balloon, yeah.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You guys here.
Yeah, we'll do the next episode. We're gonna do it right from as we skydive, guys. It'll be really
Exactly.
exciting.
That'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
Live in the air. Anyone watching it, reach out. We'd love to hear.
Yeah.
If you wanted to do something as a kid, you've seen our Twitter handles.
Join the conversation.
Yeah.
Hashtag ABTV, ABTV Tribeca.
Yep.
Like us on Facebook, like us on iTunes there. Follow us. Join the chat. Yeah, get on the
Yeah,
chat.
we wanna hear.
Yeah, absolutely. Find out your childhood dreams, things that you didn't pursue, that you now regret.
We won't make fun of you.
No.
Just
no.
a little
What
bit,
happened?
maybe.
Might be a chuckle, but we're laughing with you.
Yeah, with you. Exactly. That's the key word.
So they get to Mrs. Parsons' house and they talk to her, and I love just the second decoration there for Mrs. Parsons' house, because you see all the framed photos of all the different ventriloquist dummies just in the background, which I thought was just nice and creepy and weird. And they find out that she's got OCD.
Yes.
As Nikki was
yes,
saying
my
there.
favorite
Yes.
part. I jumped the gun there earlier, but it was my favorite part of the show.
Yeah, but my favorite part though was that Mrs. Parsons was fine with her husband because she knew that she could deal with the mistresses and the long hours and the drugs. That was part of the deal if you're going to be together with a ventriloquist.
Yeah, it was just one more way that they're showing they're like creating these ventriloquists. We got like these huge NBA stars or these base MLB stars, you know, that
Somewhere,
like rockers.
the women are going to
yeah.
be around, you know.
somewhere in America, some little kids watching the show like, yeah, forget, I don't want to be a Major League Baseball player. Ventriloquist.
Yeah.
That's it. They just threw down the basketball and they picked up the dummy. That's it. There you go. And when we get back to the precinct, we have another one. Since this was the episode that we taped for the marathon, they worked in Ford last episode. Another product placement. This time they do a nice little riff with Snickers.
I love that
Snickers
part.
paying the bills.
Yeah, yes. It really satisfies, guys. I don't know if you picked that up. It really
Really
satisfies.
sad. And they went back and forth for a while on that.
did.
Which I thought was funny about that was if you saw the car that they were driving in now, because it wasn't like a Ford, it was just some like rickety maroon typical cop car. Because Ford isn't like what they're sponsoring now, so
pulled
now
out.
they show up in this
Dumb.
horrible car. But they're eating the best candy now, so now they have their Snickers.
And they find out that they have a suspect. So Dion Cole goes in there and interrogates him and uses this great. I thought it was a nice little delivery there without using a bunch of board games that he kept tying into all the interrogation.
I'm glad we
like-
got to see more of him.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
that's something we mentioned last week, was that we wanted to see more of these other characters. And we did get to see him more tonight, I think, in both episodes. And it was good. And I said he's more of a bad cop, whereas you look at Angie and Jay, and they're really a good cop. So you have the good cop, bad cop dilemma going on right now. And he's really Iron Fist.
Yeah, I really want to see more of the dog, though. I think if you're gonna put the dog in the show, don't just put him in for like a second or two. I know that in this episode, the only part he was in was when they were at the printer, or
he was typing away. And
there was a printer mishap, sent it to the wrong place. All of that happened, but yeah, it's funny, it's comical. The dog's a part of the team. He's in the police force. Show him more. Have him be more of a character, you know. Have more. Even though he doesn't speak, he can have Tanner making more jokes with him. So I know it's only a half hour, but I just want to see more of the puppy.
Steve Carell, put the puppy in.
There you go.
I think they'll get him in because now that they're showing more Tanner, they got to show his partner too. So I think in time we'll see more of the dog. And he always does the same thing I do. I'm known for always like sending copies to the wrong printer. So that was like totally me. I was the dog in that episode.
Well, then Giles goes down to with Dr. Schultz, and they do the autopsy of with the dummy, which I thought that was a great take of that. So they put on the mask, they put on the face mask, and then they just use a chain or a little saw and they cut into it, and just the sawdust that's flying into their face that whole time was fantastic. And they find a thumb drive.
A literal
thumb drive.
Of course they did. Of course they're gonna do that. You're gonna talk about a thumb drive, and they would. I love that they stay on the same track at least. You know, with all these corny jokes, like a thumb drive, or we're gonna put a thumb on the drive.
Of course, just embrace the stupidity of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. If you're gonna do it well. You know.
Yeah, that leads us to our Dr. Edelweiss appearance this episode with his ailment of the week.
Everyone's favorite disabled doctor.
Yes, coming with 2 broken arms in full casts. Yes. Until I only realized that he just like shakes him off. So.
Yeah, and he does what he does last time too. He does the joke for like 1 second just to show everyone, and then just goes back into who he actually is. So, I mean, what's gonna happen next week? I don't know.
Well, actually, we do know that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
The week after.
And we were talking about his character too, because on IMDb they were saying that he was only going to be in 3 episodes.
Now it says 7.
Yeah, so I think maybe
check back next week. It'll be 10.
There you go.
I know. Hopefully the whole season and season 2 maybe.
For those of you that placed a lot of bets because you thought it was 3 based on Michael's comment last week, just tell them how you feel there. ABTV. Hashtag ABTV Tribeca.
I'll make it up to you somehow. Take you out for ice cream.
Oh, wow. Look at what a deal, guys. All right.
Oh, wow.
A man of my word.
Everyone loves ice cream. See, we all freaked out just now about ice cream. Like, ice cream. I forgive you.
Yeah. Oh, all right.
It's always a good bargaining chip.
By the way, after last episode, I did go and get some Breyer's Reese's ice cream when I was at the grocery store.
Did you?
Yeah, it's basically gone.
You didn't come over to my house with it? I thought that was kind of the plan. You were going to come over. I was supposed to supply the ice cream. But...
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man. All right. So on the thumb drive, they find a memoir by Alan Parsons about all the sordid details of being a ventriloquist, all the inside secrets, things you're not supposed to reveal to the public. But he did that. He put it all in a book. So somebody's got to go through that book, though, and find out, any clues to who could possibly have committed this crime. So they leave it up to Dr. Scholes. She gets stuck with doing that.
In a bathtub.
I think this was probably my favorite part of the entire episode because it completely just shows just men being men, sort of. Men hear that this woman is down in a bathtub, and so you see them all come and pretend that they're doing different things down in her medical lab, basically. And obviously you see the lieutenant pretend he's on his phone, it's really a stapler. You even see one of the convicts that's still arrested, and he made his way down there with handcuffs behind his back, and they're all trying to check her out, see what's going on underneath those bubbles there.
I think this show really personifies one of my favorite lines in that there's a little truth in every sarcasm.
Yeah.
And this is so much sarcasm in this entire show and everything that they're making fun of. But there's a little truth. Everyone can look back and be like, okay.
Yeah, I'd make an excuse to go down there. Was that what you're thinking? You're like, I'd make an excuse to go down there.
Little truth in every sarcasm.
But then the best part, though, when she gets out of the tub, she's fully clothed. All the guys, everyone's all disappointed. So.
No one came down to actually see her, obviously, but they were looking for her. Disappointed they leave. It's just, the male, typical testosterone taking over.
As Jerry Burns said, this is disappointing. So the idea that Fisher Price, who's the world's greatest ventriloquist, according to Giles, so they go to his place. Which I love that, as Nikki was mentioning there. Yes, it's a party there. All a lot of lady ventriloquist dummies all lined up, dressed really sexy in lingerie, all posted on guys' elbow or knees and stuff. So they
making
go there.
out.
Making out.
They were.
Can we just discuss that his name is Fisher Price, though, and the fact that they already in the show are showing all the games when Tanner was interrogating, showing all these games, and Fisher Price is involved. So it's very a toy theme.
Another sponsor.
Yeah, another sponsor.
Snickers had some challenge.
not, Fisher Price should pay up.
So I love it. The theme just flows very well. So they did a good job with that.
And they noticed that there's that he's got a Band-Aid on one of his fingers there, right there. That's
they had identified earlier that there was might had a splinter, and so makes sense. Him with a Band-Aid.
And I love that the splinter because as Dr. Scholl's called it, was a defensive wound on the dummy, which I like that. So the defensive wound on the dummy. Yep. Okay. Sure.
It's a workplace danger.
So they figure they have their suspect, but they don't have any proof. So the only way they can get that is that they got to go undercover, and they got to go to Fisher Price's show, which Giles says like, no way you could get in. It's been sold out for 4 years, and I think probably I don't know if it's my second favorite or my favorite bit is when he does the phone call on the hand, because you see so many people doing that, and then it turns out it really works. It turns into a big hand phone, and it's talking to the lady on the other end who's got a hand right next to her face.
Why work for me?
Why do we do that? Why do we do this and actually like pretend like it's cool and stuff?
Do we do it with these two fingers or these two?
The outside do.
Oh, I've been doing it
that way. You've been doing it
I guess
wrong.
they don't do it enough.
Well, I've seen it both ways, so you're not alone.
I think it's like
I would
this.
say
This
minority.
is the antenna.
That's the antenna.
It's the antenna, and then this
Is that a
the
90s
phone
phone?
phase. Yes.
No,
This is
it's
when I did it when I was a
outside
kid, and
phone.
that's all there was. Okay. I haven't updated it to the iPhone to hold like that.
Yeah, so I'm more like the hang loose kind of guy, like that.
Yeah.
That's why I've always done my phones that way.
Yeah.
It was too much for me. That joke, I'm like, no, I'm not feeling it.
No?
I'm sorry. I couldn't feel that
all
one.
right.
I was like, ugh.
Well, this is the last episode that Nikki will be on.
Yeah.
That's it. Goodbye, guys.
That's it. So the only way they can get into the show now is they've got to go undercover, and they decide to pose as the opening act for that, which I like that, just the way they get through security. The guy that's manning the back door. We're here to perform the show. Are you really? Yeah, we are. Okay.
That makes sense.
He's like, you never know. There's a lot of crazies out there. Just so casual. Love it. Just so typical of them.
And to make sure, because Giles failed so miserably as a child, that flashback really haunts him there, that he's afraid to go on stage. Tribeca says, I'll be your dummy that you can use for this. So
Yeah, I think that was great, though. That right there just shows a moment between the two of them, though, that she's there for him. She's going to have his back. She's going to give him this confidence, this motivation to go on stage to get over his fears. And I just think that that's an interesting dynamic that just shows how their relationship is getting a lot stronger. Maybe feelings, some type of feelings that they'll show.
And I feel like that was the first time that she truly was there for him, because so many times he's telling her like a traumatic story. Like earlier on in the episode, he was telling her about that story, and she leaves the car and like goes and gets a hot dog or something.
Yeah.
So finally, by the end of the episode, it shows that she is showing a little more feelings, I think, towards him. And I'm really excited to see the two of them progress. And hopefully sooner than later, we see some kissing
seeing it
or
early.
some
They
action or
almost
something.
shared a kiss earlier before they went on
Yeah.
stage. Didn't happen, though, but I think we're getting close.
Oh,
I
that's
want that
hoping.
relationship to work out. So I think we're on the same page
Yeah.
with that. We want to see it happen.
but I can't imagine that this kiss is going to be anything like, oh my God, that was exactly like it.
no.
Yeah, no.
No, there's no way this is a traditional love story in any sense of the word.
yeah.
But after our first two episodes, where it was really just Giles going into Tribeca to really like help her out getting over her doomed marriage there with James Franco, or even before when she was reluctant to take on another partner, it's always been more like her issues that have always been the core of it. And now it's kind of nice to flip the dynamic and just see that, as you were saying, Nikki, that that she is there for him this episode.
I mean, she's had 236 other partners, all who have had a romantic thing with her. I don't think that's all been one-sided. So
Yeah.
maybe she always plays hard to get. I mean, she is a woman. So
No.
I
I gotta
Turn
can
that
I slap him?
That's right. He did tell the
All
precinct that she's a girl this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I had to say it.
Okay,
I had to
it's
make
okay.
the
All
little
right,
joke.
keep talking. Keep talking.
Uh-oh.
It's okay.
No.
I'm gonna stop talking on that one.
Okay.
So he, thanks to Rebecca's help, he succeeds.
Yep.
He's able to get that crowd's applause that he didn't get as a child there.
After one line.
After one line, and then
Politics.
Fisher Price comes out and Walter shoots her. Yeah. So luckily she had a bulletproof bustier brassiere on.
Yeah,
so-
I wear that all the time.
Yep.
Yeah, you always wear your boat.
Good
Yes.
advice.
Obviously, you never know what's gonna happen.
Absolutely.
And my favorite part was Giles actually put Angie's hand on her like part where she got shot. It took me like 2 times before I noticed that.
He actually pretended that was his dummy.
Yeah.
That she actually took it that far as the dummy. But
Yeah, and Giles is going to arrest him, basically just throw the gun out, but it actually stops him by saying that he performed the cardinal sin. He actually had his mouth moving. And and then Walter just tips over. That was it.
Yep, that was it. Then it's done, obviously, you know.
Oh,
That's the episode.
that was the end
how
of
they
that
caught
episode.
him.
There you go. Yeah, they
was
caught him
it.
and saved the day there.
Yeah.
And then Angie does a little magic trick at the end.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think that shows also what we were talking about before about how it's normally been about her and her past and stuff. How we saw all these flashbacks of her in her past, but she never talked about it at all. And then she just proved that she was very good and about her dream, I guess, at the end. That's all you basically saw of it. But yeah, I think on her level that she held back more. I think it's because she is starting to care a little bit more about him.
Yeah. So I agree with Michael. Probably my favorite episode so far. I had a lot of good stuff that I enjoyed there. Yeah. So how about you guys at Nikki?
I enjoyed the episode. It definitely was one of my favorites. Like I said, I love the OCD part with Sarah Chalk, and there were just so many good parts. The dolls, yeah. So I definitely put it up there, but I think the second one was probably my favorite episode, to be honest.
Oh, all right. Well, we're gonna get into that. All right, Nadine.
Yeah, I like the episode. It's like what I said earlier. I think just because I love the theme of it, I love the topic. It's something we don't really discuss that much, and I find it intriguing. So I think because of that, I give them an A+ for the theme that they put through it.
So if there was a real 1,200-page memoir about the inside secrets of ventriloquism,
I would read that so hard. It's just like you would read that if it was about a magician or magic tricks, right? Aren't you curious? I'm just so curious.
Michael's nice, like, nah.
Aren't you curious about it?
I would see if there's Spark Notes. Is that what it is? Yeah.
I'll write the Spark Notes. You can pay me later.
Where's the
It'll be
Wikipedia
fine.
article? I'll go through it.
Well, as Nikki's saying, her favorite episode that we watched today was this next episode we're going to talk about. Episode 4, The Thumb Affair. Dun, dun, dun. Starring John Michael Higgins as our as both playing a dual role, twin brothers in this episode there. And it starts off, they're at a gallery. They're looking at this great painting called Thumb. They've got a lot of protection, a lot of security because it's such a famous painting. They've got velvet ropes. They've got a sign that says "Do not touch." Everything that would really deter a thief from stealing it. But not so, because somebody posing as a Cupid statue hops off and takes the painting and absconds with it. Dun, dun,
We were asking, does that work? Does anyone, actually listen to the Velvet Ropes or the no flash photography?
Not at
Nobody.
all.
Why?
I don't know, a little bit. When I'm there, my heart races a little when I see that. With I would never jump over. Would you jump over that and go touch the painting, or would you honestly?
In my heyday, I've done some dares.
Okay, I mean, I wouldn't do
If
that.
no one's there and there's
Yeah,
something. I'm probably not a painting because I feel like I could maybe the oils and I could actually destroy it.
Yeah.
Statue or something. Yeah, I've definitely touched a statue where I'm not supposed to.
Yeah, I've definitely jumped over and definitely taken pictures of paintings and other pictures in the museum. I can't help myself. I almost got kicked out for doing that, but I still have the pictures. So
that's not what the mugshot
it was
is from?
worth it. Yeah. That's why I was taken away.
A friend of mine actually took her shoe off and just threw it near one of a paintings, and people were walking around thinking that was part of the show and thought it was art. And she was filming that, and she posted it. It was the best video ever. People were stopping and looking around and looking, seeing if the sign matched, and it was just a shoe sitting there.
That's awesome.
What a great commentary this artist is making.
Oh, it was wonderful.
I think the meaning is behind that.
Yeah, right. Look at those laces there. The way that it falls.
It's just.
Well, it was over at the. I had a chance to go to the Sistine Chapel, and there, I don't know if you guys have been, but there's somebody in that room as you're walking in the cathedral that just keeps constantly saying at the top of their lungs, "No pictures, no pictures." So nobody takes it, but you just basically keeping your camera really low, just blending in with the crowd. So it's really some shots of the Sistine Chapel, but then just a lot of people because I'm shooting up from it. So it's that's not the best shots. But
You tried.
I tried, guys.
You do the sneaky thing where you hit the volume. Is it volume down or volume up? Which takes the picture on the iPhone?
Down.
Oh,
Yeah.
Volume down. Yeah, you do that, or you're just holding it and just.
You just do that. Is that what you do? Are you a sneak picture taker? Should we be cautious now? Right?
I do
I've
that when
taken
it's of
3 of you already,
celebrities.
so don't worry about it.
I was at a club with Justin Bieber, and I was trying the whole I'm not taking a picture of you. No.
Yeah, and he totally knew. He knew what was
The
going
bodyguards knew. They're tried to rip my phone out of my hand. They were
wow.
serious. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Even in a club, it wasn't like we were at Justin Bieber's house. We were at a club, and still they would not let anyone take pictures of Justin.
on. Oh my goodness. Yeah, be careful with that. You want to keep your phones at,
I know,
at clubs
exactly.
and museums. You
That's
don't want
right.
to get those taken away.
So for this episode, we have our first kind of change from our traditional running joke where somebody's screaming. Usually it's one of the cops screaming.
Yeah.
For this, it was the one of the museum tour guides there. She starts screaming, and that kicks us into the theme song there. And her scream kind of carries us through. So a little change from the form there, but it's kind of nice. I feel like we saw a little bit of a blooper reel too as well. So I feel like along the further episodes, we're going to have other people screaming as well. It seems like we had a little cut gag of other people screaming. So looks like we'll be passing the mic, so to speak, for all these screams. But then and then of course we have the cop puking at this traumatic scene.
Which I pointed out is that going back to episode 1, Angie says to that same rookie cop, "Don't worry, you'll get over it." the first time.
I love that you remembered that. That's
Yes.
so
And he
great.
never has gotten over it.
No, it's God, that's traumatic. There's a painting missing. That's how could you not?
Yeah. Throw up over that.
But I think it's funny that we're just talking about a painting, and they're more serious about catching the criminal than any other of the episodes we've seen so far. Any of the murderers, I mean, we'll get to it later, but they get all the SWAT team in. It's just like crazy how they're overreacting so much over this painting. But that's what the show is. They definitely go crazy when they're not supposed to, and you know how they are.
Well, we see that the Cupid statue is also missing, and as the museum personnel point out, that was donated by Dr. Zaius, and now that it's gone as well. So I feel like Dr. Zaius from Planet of the Apes, but nobody ever really, I don't feel like there were any good touches about the Dr. Zaius. I was expecting to do some kind of plays on that with the Planet of the Apes, but nothing that ever really happened.
That's
in
where
this
it
episode.
sounds familiar.
Yeah, especially that Simpsons did the song for the Planet of the Apes musical, "Rock Me, Dr. Zaius." Yeah. So that, but it never happened. Yeah. So basically, though, we find out that Angie, though's got a soft spot, or she's this really sensitive subject for her, talking about art and especially thumb. And we find out that when we get another flashback, another of Angie back in the young days. She was an art student in Paris. Yes.
That was a great part when she was just trying to be so European and she was wearing her little beret and stuff. And then the guy was like an English guy and he goes, "That was the weirdest first date of my life." It's just typical Angie, just going over the top for everything. But yeah, we see the thumb was actually, she was dating the artist. That was her boyfriend.
Carpaccio McGuffin.
Yeah, Carpaccio.
Yes.
He was an Italian-Irishman.
What a name.
Or Scottishman.
Yeah.
So
rubbing bananas all over each other's faces, all that kind of great stuff
So
you do when you're young.
sexy. Oh my
when you're in
gosh,
love.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
romantic.
In black and white,
Yeah.
right? It was
Yeah.
at least a fade color. It wasn't straight color.
No,
Was
they just showed that it was
wow.
flashback
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like those great, black and white
Vignette
French movies.
or
Yes,
something.
yes, exactly. Yeah, but I've never once. I don't know. I've never gotten into we're gonna get really secretive. Never food play with anybody that I'm involved in a relationship. I've
Really?
never I don't know.
You gotta try it. Strawberries, bananas.
Oh, wow.
All right, as always, Nikki. Yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
No, it's cute. I've been eating ice cream and I'll throw it on their face, just joking at the store or something. Just something cute like that.
Hey, wait.
Like when you're at the ice cream shop.
Did we just
and you
finish?
feel like
I was
that.
gonna say we just finished with at the store.
Yeah.
Just open up the cabinet and just take it.
Just something cute, like you just, I don't know, that type of stuff, but nothing
Just
crazy.
throwing ice cream on a.
Yeah, just taking handfuls,
Yes.
just chucking it, demolishing them.
It's like
with
at the
ice
wedding
cream.
with the cake. Just
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Well, Valentine's Day is coming up. I recommend everyone, get some chocolate,
All right.
strawberries, whip cream.
Okay.
Have some
See
fun.
what the night takes you.
Yeah, I
All
don't
right.
like that
Yes.
at weddings though with the cake when they do it.
Yeah, they're
That's
classy.
you have to be. That's your the best day or the day where everyone's eyes are on you. Like the most important day sort of your physical career life. I would say everyone's looking at you.
All right, so
and
now
you should
you're
not
now-
mess up the makeup
not
and
at
any
all.
of that. Not at a wedding. No.
Okay,
When
so
I'm
it's
in a
your
little,
wedding,
I'm in
and-
a little cafe or something. There's ice cream. Yeah, I'll mess up, but that's about it. But not at a wedding. No,
Yeah,
it's
no.
not happening.
My cousin's wedding, they really slammed cake in each other's faces. I mean, she had
Yeah.
it all over. I would have killed my
I've
husband
seen it get in
after
the hair
that.
before,
Yeah.
and it's like, come on now.
Yeah,
That's
you spent hours on your makeup, getting your hair done. No, you don't want to ruin any
Not
of
at
that.
all.
So.
I got to figure because as much as it's the happiest day of your life, it's also one of the most tension-filled because you've planned the whole day. You want to make sure everything goes
Exactly.
perfect for not just yourself, but everybody else is there. You
Yeah.
got a lot of pressure on yourself. So all of a sudden somebody jams cake in your face. I figure that just
Yeah.
probably much sets you off for the rest of the night. Like
Yeah,
this.
and it's the person that you love too. It's the person you're supposed to be with the rest of your life now, and then you're just gonna start off being angry at them the entire night.
I think you need to talk about it ahead of time.
Oh,
like,
you
how
have
far
to.
are we going to take this?
Yeah.
Just a little bit on the cheek, or are we going,
Yeah.
all
Full
for it?
force.
Yeah.
I like that breaking it down.
Yeah,
like, all
break
right,
it
you can touch here, here, and here.
What are
but
your
you
limits?
can't- Yes.
Where are your boundaries?
Exactly.
What is your cake safe word? You want to know that? Yes. So they find out though that they think that Dr. Zaius says that Randy may be involved with this. So they go to Randy's apartment. Randy's twin brother of Dr. Zaius, who's kind of an idiot, as Dr. Zaius says. Yeah, real dumb. So he's got the tiniest apartment ever.
Yeah.
But I love also that's obviously played by the same character. And
Yeah.
we haven't really discussed the guest star on here. That it was just once again they just nailed it out of the
John
park.
Michael Higgins.
Michael Higgins.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's a huge comedian, been in everything. But yeah, I love the fact that he played two separate characters in this because I don't know, I just love him as an actor.
Yeah.
I think
Now, speaking of people who love John Michael Higgins, Michael, right here, had an opportunity to be really
did.
up close and personal.
So
with
it was
John Michael Higgins.
actually on last Tuesday. he was on set. We were working on Two Broke Girls, and he was literally right next to me. And I had already watched episode 4, and so I knew that he was the main guy. And I was like, oh, if only we could get him on here. I was like trying to plan out how I could talk to him, and it was like
Get him
right
here on
next
the
to
show?
him. Yeah, I was trying to get him on the show. We want to bring on a guest, and it was never an opportunity to be like, Psst, hey. So, do you want to come on this show? There was never a good opportunity. And he was going over his lines in his head. I could tell he was focused.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be that guy that interrupted the focus, and then he messes up the actual show that he's on.
Oh
and then there's no
gosh.
chance of him coming on our show.
You made the wise decision, but you had it all written down already. Like
I
you
had
were
a piece
prepared.
of paper that I was going to slip him
Ooh.
if I had like 5 seconds. Like, here's the things to say. Michael Clous, AFTERBUZZ, Angie Tribeca, piece of paper. There you go. That's what we got.
Maybe next time. Maybe next time you'll sneak on sets wherever else he's working, and maybe you can try to get with the same piece of paper.
I'll get lucky enough to be on the same set as a future enemy in the show.
There you go.
Oh, yes. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like that Angie arrests Randy, though, for Grand Theft Auto.
Yes, I have that down. That's like one of my favorite lines.
But can we talk about the painting that's in Randy's apartment, too? The Switcheroo painting? I just love that. I thought that was actually hilarious. Because you look at it and you're like, what would that be called? And then it says a Switcheroo. And it's just like classic. Love it.
A giant kangaroo painting. Instead of the face, though, we have a light switch.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
What did they say? A kanger light or something like that at first? And like, no,
Yeah.
it's a switcheroo.
Yeah, exactly. Because everyone's looking at it like, what is that called, Switcheroo? And then you get it, and then it clicks like light bulb, ding.
Yeah.
You know, you get it. So I thought it was a great joke.
And Giles wants to buy it, but he's like, no, you don't want this terrible painting.
Yeah.
Little do we know.
Foreshadowing.
Yes.
Exactly.
Dun, dun, dun.
And I love it how he goes to the bathroom too, and they're in this tiny little place. There isn't even another door. They're just like standing there waiting for him to finish. It was just one of those awkward bathroom moments.
Yeah, it was interesting because the apartment was so small, and it reminded me more of a New York apartment, not so much of an LA apartment that you would normally see in LA. That's why I didn't really. I don't know. I mean, yeah, people have smaller apartments, but it's not like New York where it's nothing when it's smaller than this studio right now.
Yeah,
you know, it's very different. So
Yeah, it probably was about the size of our studio here. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was a little off place. I think that they more so set that should have been set up in a New York City vibe or city, not Los Angeles.
Well, I did like that they're in this small place and there's just clearly a tarp over something in the corner where they stand there for the longest time like, what are we doing? We're checking this place out. And then finally reveal that there is the thumb right there underneath of the painting. So that's why they arrest Randy. But only to find out that it is a forgery. Thanks again to Dr. Edweiss as he comes and points out, this time with no arms.
No arms, yeah.
He had broke arms last time, this time no arms. Yeah, and points out that with 2 Mona Lisas right there, that both of them are indeed forgeries. After Giles just shoots the Mona Lisa and a cop that's standing right behind it.
Confidence.
Yeah, and I love how Angie remembers that what the real one looks like. It's because his tears of her ex-boyfriend are on the bottom right corner of the real painting because she left him and broke his heart. So he was crying while he was painting the thumb, and so that's what sort of gives it away what's fake and what's not fake.
Exactly.
So.
And Giles can go and shoot someone and no one cares, but of course they make a bigger deal about a painting. It just always blows my mind.
And I do like even with the mugshot they bring in, they shoot him. They're Tanner shooting Randy there first, and we see on the little sign that he's holding it says he's a Scorpio.
That's hilarious.
Yes.
I think that's what everyone does nowadays. They're like, oh, well, what's your sign? Because that means so much about a person. Same thing as their height, their weight, and stuff. Your sign, that's something that defines you now.
And then brings in a whole family afterwards.
picture.
A little family photo right afterwards. Why not?
We're here. Why not? Bring the backdrop
But
down.
what about you guys? Would you ever have those family photos where you all dress alike and, you know...
I never did one where my family dressed alike, but I did go one year to Disney World with my my dad and my sister and my stepmom. And my dad said, like, hey, you know what, we should dress alike for this. And for some reason, I was young enough to go, like, hey, that'd be fun. So we were wearing these white shorts and like this brown, really like just like a poop brown like polo shirt. And boat shoes. And I just remember like halfway through walking around Epcot, like, this is a terrible idea. What did I do? But I'm stuck for the rest of the day. Like, I'm dressed like my dad. This is awful.
So it was an all-day thing. It wasn't just like, okay, let's take the picture and go.
No,
You
it
were
was an
stuck that way.
all-day
man,
thing.
I feel
Nothing
bad.
says tourist. Like,
There you go. I mean, you're owning it. You're at the right place for that, though.
Sure, yeah.
You're going to go do it, so.
How about you guys?
Yeah, definitely with my dad. He was really big into taking pictures. We wouldn't have to wear matching outfits, but like my mom and I would wear maybe red and him and my brother would wear blue, and we'd have to like do like 10 takes of it, like perfect by the tree. He's very much a perfectionist, so it had to be perfect.
I love those. They're all good memories to look back at now.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you look at those photos, at least any family photos I took, I always look miserable. Like I just clearly did not want to be there, and I could not fake it. Like
You want to be in the poop brown,
poop brown.
white shorts. Not
You
your
wouldn't
cup
make
of
it in
tea.
my family, that's for sure. We would keep going until you smiled.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. No, terrible, terrible. You guys, did you guys post your family photos?
I mean, we did,
not
but
like
it wasn't
pose.
anything.
Yeah,
like,
it wasn't anything crazy. It was just picture.
Yeah.
It was just a picture.
You didn't go to a photo studio and all that?
Never.
Yeah, we did that with like the whole family, with like the extended family.
Oh, wow.
And we all like took like a huge photo. 'Cause I have a huge family and stuff. We all wanted a nice portrait of
How
all
many
of
people
us,
were in that photo?
In that one, there was for my dad's side, it's a little smaller, so there's probably about like 12 to 15 of us in that. But then we had a photographer come to my grandma's house for another one, my mom's side of the family, and there was probably about 30 to 40 in that photo.
Wow,
So,
can you
yeah, they
even-
set it up in the living
Wow.
room, and yeah, so it was great. We have them now. Looking back, it's cute
Yeah.
now.
Do you need
but
like a
nothing
magnifying glass
crazy.
to like
Yeah,
find your
there's a lot
face?
of
There's so many people.
Oh, it's crazy, you know.
I would imagine it's like
go.
one of those like grade school or high school photos for sports where there's a bunch of people like sitting on their knees right in the front.
Oh yeah, I was
and
a
then
kid, so I was sitting on the floor. That
Yeah.
was where I was.
There you
I was
go.
perched on the floor, you know.
On your
but-
knees holding the basketball.
Yeah, exactly. Holding the baby at the time. Whoever my little cousin was, I was holding him. Like. So yeah, memories, guys, memories.
That's
yeah.
right.
There you go.
Things to
Well,
look
I-
back on.
Yeah, we'll put up on Twitter,
Yeah.
on Instagram. We'll put up
Put our
all of those
family
great photos.
photos.
Yeah, you guys can check it out there. We'll hashtag it ABTV Tribeca. Check out all these great photos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see those Nadine's old family
There
photo
we go.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys can check them out. Go well.
So so they see that it's a forgery of the thumb. So they go over to Dr. Zaius and they go, all right, then he's the one that did it. Clearly set up his brother, and they find the painting of the thumb there.
It's a double forgery, though.
Boom, gotcha. Yeah.
And that's
Just
it.
what, and this was actually one of the first times where you think you have it, and they actually switched it up, and you were like, "Oh, hey,
Yeah.
that's different."
Yeah.
Which is good. You appreciate that because
Yeah.
it wasn't as an open and closed case, to use cop terms.
Ah,
Yeah.
look at that.
Well, I thought the thing that they changed up in this episode too was normally you don't really see who it was until sort of the end. They tell you in the title who's the one that did it. And this one, it was just the title was called The Thumb. So it didn't say like who actually did it, but we see that person, the perpetrator, in the opening scene, which I think is very different from what they've done the past 3 episodes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess with having twins there, you really don't know
Yeah.
who the real perpetrator is. That's a nice
Exactly.
little twist on that.
Exactly.
Yeah, so as they figure out, as they realize that second painting is also a forgery, they realize it's a real switcheroo. Which then leads them like, oh, now we know who really did it.
Got it.
Yeah, so they have that one of Nikki's favorite scenes are where the SWAT team busts into Randy's apartment, and it's just like people going into a clown car of sorts, where it's just like tons of SWAT guys just running in there, to which they pretty much are just shoulder to shoulder, all crammed inside Randy's apartment. And
See what where was the dog during all of that?
I know, I
That's
thought
my
that too.
question. It's the same thing. You're gonna have him as your partner. Where is he? Why isn't he there? Why isn't he running in? Why isn't he breaking the door?
Maybe they told him to stay in the car.
So I don't know if you're gonna bring the dog. Use the dog. I want to see
Yes.
the puppy.
Maybe he's too
So-
hard to work with. He's a drama on
He's a
set, you know.
Yeah.
wouldn't come out of his trailer that
Yeah.
day. Forget it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Makeup wasn't good.
Yeah.
Stuck doing paperwork at the office. Maybe that. proves
And
him.
I thought Tanner actually said something clever because I'm from New York and I know living in those tiny little apartments, the fridge, you do always have issues with opening and closing
Yeah.
the fridge door, and that's what he uses to hit the bad guy. So
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty clever.
And it was Tanner's first time to shine. This time he
Yeah.
caught the bad guy.
Yeah, which was the first. He's never done that. The past 3, it's been Giles and Tribeca. It's
Yeah.
mainly been Tribeca
Yeah.
the past 3. So
Gets back that it's good to see another character kind of be able to shine, and you learn more about that. Makes you connected more to the show because you connect to more of the characters.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you see his past, like you were saying with the refrigerator.
Yeah.
So he's lived in a small apartment. He's had to sort of
Yeah.
make his way
Yep.
to where he is now. So now, we're building a little bit about his past, his history. So
Yeah, and then it ends up as Angie's been struggling this whole episode that she feels like she always runs away when she gets too close to somebody. Giles says like, "Oh man, I think we're getting closer. We're really there for each other," and then handcuffs her as she tries to get away because you feel like it's getting a little too close and personal there. So,
She doesn't resist majorly.
No.
So here's the thing: predictions. All right, through 4 episodes, when does it become like a thing? When it take? Let's go, Frank.
Let's see. I guess if you're planning, because you never know if you're going to get a season 2. So I figure.
Okay, we'll go first kiss. That's when
Yeah.
the determining factor. Frank, when do you think that first kiss will
You've got
be?
10 episodes in the first season, so I'm going to say, I'll say episode 8.
Ooh, okay. Nikki?
I'm gonna go with. I think they really believe there's gonna be a second second season. So I think they're gonna wait till the last episode, episode 10, and then make you wait until whenever they start season 2 to kind of really dive into it.
Ooh. That's good.
All right.
And I think episode 7, they're gonna have a kiss, but it's gonna be an accidental kiss. I think something's gonna happen where they run into each other and
like
it's an
that.
accident, and then they freak out, and then one of them throws up, or one of them punches the other one, or something crazy happens with that accidental kiss. But then later they're like, well, I kind of like that. It's like one of those things. Well, maybe, but they
Like
really
that awkward moment.
Yeah, but they really freak out when it first happens. It wasn't planned, and so I think that's what's going to
Here
happen.
we go. We got
soon,
7. You were 7,
I was
right?
8.
8.
You were 8, 10, 7. You know what? I'll go 9.
9.
I'll be the one. I have no reason for this.
Okay.
I'm just, we have.
Yeah.
There you go. So one of us will be right,
7,
or
8,
all of us will be
10.
wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
And here comes episode 6, and there it is.
See what happens.
We'll probably all be wrong.
Yeah, and then we learned the real reason you never want to be handcuffed to your partner is that sometimes they want to go poop, and then you've got to go with them. It's never a good thing.
It's the unfortunate thing that no one ever, thinks about if you're ever handcuffed to someone. That,
Hopefully you're not handcuffed
I
to
know.
anyone. I don't want to be handcuffed to someone. So hopefully I'm never in that predicament. But
Yeah,
So
I
that was the Thumb Affair, and I have to say,
Yeah.
over the 4 episodes we watched, this is, while enjoyable, probably my least favorite out of the 4. How about you guys?
I don't know if it was my least favorite, but I definitely we've reviewed 3 and 4 now. I'd definitely like 3 better than 4, I'd say. But I don't know if it was my least favorite. I don't know if I have a least favorite yet. I think some of them are high and low in all of them for me. So
I think there you can start to tell, and this is something that as you shoot an episode, you just get more and more comfortable with the other characters, and I think that's what we're seeing here. Whereas the pilot, it was really, look at any pilot of a show. Heck, you go back and watch the Friends pilot or the Office pilot, and you're like, wow, that just seemed like really structured and
Just
stiff.
crazy.
And I mean, it's something that goes without saying when, they start doing more of a show and doing more episodes, that people get more comfortable, and that just shows. And so I think that's what I've realized watching 3 and 4, is that there's just that more comfortability factor.
Yeah, I really liked the 4th episode because I love John Michael Higgins, and he had such a good part in it, and then also seeing more of Tanner and just seeing all their characters evolve more. So I think as the show progresses, I'm going to like each episode more and more and more.
Oh, all right.
What about you?
I guess I just I mean it was, I guess I'm saying it's my worst favorite. My worst favorite.
Worst favorite.
It's my worst favorite. Yeah, it's my worst favorite, guys. I'm gonna stick with that. That's my new thing.
Okay.
It's my worst favorite.
Worst favorite. Okay. There
That's
we
what
go.
we thought of episodes 3 and 4 of Angie Tribeca, but feel free to let us know what you think, folks. Hit us on Twitter there at #ABTV Tribeca. Tag all of us there, and we'll keep the conversation going even after the show there.
And we will look forward to pictures
Yeah,
Yes,
family
they do say
photos.
names, putting on family photos
and
there.
mugshot. No, I'm just kidding.
There you go.
Mugshot and family photo side by side. Yeah.
And we'll be back next week.
All right,
There
you're
you
not,
go.
you're not the only one who's committed a crime.
Oh,
once in
I
their
think we
life.
gotta talk about that
What is
next.
that coming up next week?
Oh,
Tease.
That's right.
There you go.
There you go. Nadine, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at NadineDP3.
You can find me on Twitter at Michael Clous TV, on Instagram at TheOnlyMC.
You can find me on Facebook and Twitter at Nikki Preston TV and Instagram at Nikki.Preston.
And you can follow me on Twitter at HappyGoJackie, and then check me out at Iowa West with my improv team, Max, Tuesday nights at 9:30.
There you go.
That's
There
it for
we
us.
go.
We'll see you next week here on
Next
AfterBuzz,
Monday.
Angie and Rebecca After Show.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.